Hey, what's up guys? So in this video I'm going to share with you everything that you need to know about the pen tool inside Affinity Designer. I'll share different settings, different features, and along the way I'll also share with you different tips and tricks that I have come to know over time so that you can easily use and more efficiently use this tool. Now in my point of view, pen tool is the most useful tool when it comes to vector graphics or vector design, whether it is for t-shirt design or for any other purpose. So guys, here inside Affinity Designer I have just created a new document, and the tool that I want to discuss here is this pen tool, and you will find it in this tools bar. So I'll just select this tool here, or by clicking it, or by just pressing P. Now once you click and this tool is selected, you will see different features and different new buttons that appear at the top here on the taskbar. Now I'll go through each of them one by one so that you can easily understand it. By the way, I have put timestamps of different sections in the video in the description below, so if you want to skip any part, and if something that just feel like it is very basic, you can easily skip it and jump to the part where you think you might need to know about that particular tool or particular feature. So now that's that, and let's go start by from this left side. So at the top you can see we have this word written pen tool. It just shows you which tool it is selected. So if I select a different tool, maybe this arrow tool, you see we don't have any selection. Then there we have this node tool, so it is just there to show you which tool is selected. So I'll go back to the pen tool now. Then we have a settings for the fill color. You can choose different color swatches, gradients, or whatever you want. Then you have the stroke color, and then there is just the stroke width and stroke styles and corner or all the settings like that. Okay, next we have mode and different buttons in it. By default I have this pen mode. By pen mode, it simply means that I can just click anywhere. Either I can click once and it will create a corner point like that, you can see, or I can click and drag and I can just use it simple, make smooth curves like that, and then I can either close it or whatever I want to do it. So this first mode is very, you can say, the most used mode when it comes to graphics design or vector designs. I mostly use this first mode. The next mode that I want to discuss here is this smart mode. Now it might be helpful for somebody, but I find myself rarely using this second mode. So if I just select this second mode, what this second mode does is that you don't have to drag different points. So if I just click here, I can just click anywhere else like that, and I click here like that. So this point that was supposed to be a corner point if I am using this pen mode, now when I'm using this smart mode, it turns it into a smart smooth curve. So it is very useful when you just want to create rough shapes around any particular graphic or any particular object, and you do not want to create those corner points. So it is very useful for that, and it will automatically make your shape smooth or lines to be smooth. The third button here, it is going to be a polygon mode, and in polygon mode you cannot create smooth curves, or you can say just smooth lines. So it's simply going to give you corner points at every point when you want to create something like that. Whenever you want to create, it will just give you corner points without creating any kind of smooth points. So it can be helpful in those scenarios. The next mode is the line mode, and in line mode it is only going to give you straight line from one point to another point, whether it is horizontal line like that, at an angle, something like that, or simply just vertical like that. So it is going to give you only lines, and it is very helpful when you want to create multiple lines for some case. So let's say I just want to create some multiple vertical lines random like that, and I do not want to press escape key and all that thing to create the new shape. So it can be helpful in those scenarios when you quickly want to draw multiple vertical lines. Okay, next we have a different feature in the mode that is called preserve selection when creating new shapes. So if I do not have this feature selected, let me go back to the pen mode. So if I do not have this feature selected, whenever I'm just trying a shape like that, and that shape is closed now, after closing it, when I try to create a new shape, you can see that I create a new shape, but in the layers panel, this original shape that I have drawn is deselected. Whenever I just close it and create a new shape, it will select a new shape and the other shapes will be deselected. Okay, if you do not want it to behave like that, what you would do is that you can just press this button, this option, and now when you create a new shape like that, after closing one shape, your shape will not be you can say that closed. Let me just create a new shape here like that. So all of the curves that you create are going to be already selected. Now it is behaving, in my point of view, this behaves kind of weird when you have this option selected, so I mostly just turn it off in most of the cases. Alright, the next feature we have is this one, that is that add new curve to the selected object. So if I have this selected, let me deselect this one. So if I have this selected, whenever I'm just creating a shape like that, and if I want to create another shape inside this one, so that I can easily, you can say that, change its fill colors and change its strokes color without going to just adding extra steps and creating different things. So when I have this option selected, whenever I'm going to create a new shape, it is going to be created within that particular curve. So I can easily just move it around and I can change its features, make it stroke width like that, change its stroke style, something like that. So all of these features can be accessed by just selecting one curve, because all of the curves are included in this single curve. So that feature is helpful in those scenarios. Next we have this rubber band mode. So let me show you. If we just it have to be not selected. So this is just simple mode. We have pen mode and nothing, nothing else just pressed, no button is pressed right now. So if I just click here, and now you can see that whenever I'm moving my cursor, I can know that I can create a point here or create a point here, but I do not know how it might look like, what is the curvature of that. So if we just go back to the normal mode, so I do not know what is the curvature of that. So if you do not want it to behave like that and you would like it to just preview you what it is, what is going to be the new curve shape, what is the new line shape that you are at that point where you are going to just click. So if I have this selected rubber band mode, now if I just click here, and now when I move my cursor, it shows me a preview where this line is going to be. So it can be helpful when you want to create some shapes like that, and then it gives you a preview that what kind of shape you are going to get after clicking or making a point at that particular location. So something like that, and I can make it like that, and now I can get a preview if I'm going to get a line according to my likeness or not, and if I should make a point here or at a different location. So that is helpful in those scenarios. All right, next we have this convert options and the actions. Those options will be available when you have any shape already drawn. So I might go to those options later on, but for now let's choose these options. So these have this snapping option, aligned to the nodes of the selected curves and aligned to the geometry of the selected curves. So these are different nodes, they are self-explanatory by the way. So if I have this point selected here, and this point here, and this point here, and this point here, and then like that. So when I have this snapping option, let me just deselect all of these snapping options. So when I'm creating a new curve here, I just want to create it parallel to this point. So if I have this first option checked, now when I click here, I get a kind of like a highlight of this point. That means that I'm just parallel to this, I'm just aligning at this point. Same is the case with this one, I'm aligning at this point and at this point. So that is helpful in those scenarios. This one, when you want to create just your points exactly at the parallel to those or just in line with the previous points. The next option that we have is this snap to geometry of the selected curve. By the way, I'm not really sure how it really works because I have not found it to be useful in most of the cases, and especially these other options, these three buttons as well, because I have these snapping option checked, and these options work perfectly whenever I'm just trying, so I don't have to bother about these most of the times. So you can just uh, you know test these out and see for yourself if you find them to be useful for you or not. All right, the next we have this show orientation. So if I just create a new curve like that, you can see that our shape is closed, and by the way, the end one, this red circle at this point is going to show you that this is the end point, this is the start and the end point, this is the closing point of this whole shape. So if I just press this button, make it checked, now you can see, if I just zoom in, you can see a small highlight appearing here. So let me just make this to be very thin. This small red line that appears here is going to show you the orientation of your shape. So our shape is going like that and then going into that. So it can be helpful when you do not know where what is the direction of your shape. So for example, in this one, I know that this is the point, start and the end point, but I do not know whether the shape is starting and moving in this direction or it is starting and moving in this direction. So if you want to know in which direction your shape is going to be, or just the orientation of your shape, you can just select this one and it will let you know that this is the direction or the orientation of that shape. Now you might think why it is going to be helpful, and I'll let you know later on at the latter part of this video when I'm going to go over different action options, especially this reverse curve and smooth curve and these other options. So you will get to know about that later on. Okay, now if let's say this is the shape that I've created. Okay, now this fill option is going to, but by default whenever you are creating a new shape like there, so you are going to get it without any fill, just a simple stroke like that. But if you want to use just create a new shape and have it to be already filled, you should choose this option, use fill. Now whenever I'm just creating a new shape, it also has a fill color to it by default. All right, now it's time for certain tips and tricks when using this tool. So the first thing is that, let me just create a shape here, something, let's say like that. Now by default let me just uncheck this fill. So I have just created a shape and I have not closed it, as you can see here. So let me just select it and select this pen tool. Now it means that the shape started here and this red point is the end point. I already know because it is an open shape, and now I already know the direction is like that. Now if you want to change the endpoint direction or the point, you just make this point, the starting point, to be the end point. At the top in the action you have this option reverse curve. So if I just click here, now you can see that our red circle appears at this point. Now it means that the curve direction has now changed. Now you might say that it does not affect your shape, it does not affect your line. Why it is useful? Let me show you why it is useful. So let me bring it back to like that. Now it is useful in those cases when you are using brushes, special pre-made brushes for your designs. So let me open this brushes tab and let me choose any, let's say watercolor brush. Any brush would work. So if I choose let's say this option 128, so if I just click it, and now you can see the shape of that brush. Let me just select a different brush, maybe like that, or maybe like that would be, this one would be helpful. Yeah, so now you can see that our brush is like this. This is the starting point and this is the end point. This is how it is looking. Now I wanted let's say I wanted to reverse it. So either I can just right click and flip at the top, at these flip options, or I can simply do is go to this pen tool and change the end point, just reverse the curve, and now my brush has just flipped without changing the shape or the orientation of the shape. I have just flipped the stroke of that brush. So it is very helpful in those scenarios when you accidentally created a shape in a reversed order, but later on you found out that you should have changed the end point and the starting point. So this is very helpful for in those cases when you are dealing with brushes. All right, the next tip is regarding the default colors and choosing the colors efficiently. So let's say if I just create a new shape here, by default I have this point to width stroke and the black color to be selected. So if I just make it wide, so whenever I'm just creating a new shape like that, it is going to choose most of the times the features of the shape that I have previously created. So I have no fill and the black stroke. So if I just change it to let's say fill it to be blue, or let's fill it with red color. So when I'm just going to create a new shape, now if you do not have this use fill color selected, whenever you are going to create a new shape, it will not have that color selected. So if you wanted to create a new shape with the same fill color, make sure that you have this option selected, use fill color. So now if you create a new shape, it will also have that fill color selected. Another thing that I want to bring your attention to is this appearance panel. So in this appearance panel you can see that I do not have currently any shape selected, but in the appearance panel I have this fill selected and the stroke selected as well. So what happened is that this is going to be your default settings for the new shape. So if I just create a new shape, this is going to be my default. Now I do not have any fill color because I deselected this use fill color, but whatever the color of strokes you have here, it is going to be your new default thing. So if I deselect everything and I have this settings, and if I just change it to be, let's say, green, okay, now this is going to be my default settings for the new shape. So when I'm going to create a new shape, this is going to pick that setting and it's going to give me that color here. So without selecting any shape, just select the fill color and the stroke color, select the pen tool, and if you want it to be filled, use the fill color option, make sure it is checked, and then you create it and it is going to give you that fill color shape. Okay, now by default I have created this shape again, and let me just choose its fill color to be different one. Now when I'm just going to create a new shape, it is going to pick that color whatever it appears here. So if I just change it to be red and now create a new shape, it is going to give me that color, so like that. And if I do not want it to use the latest color that I've selected, what I can do is just go to the pen tool, select that shape for the which I want to just pick the color from that shape. So if I want to my new shape to have this black color, what I would do is just select that curve shape which has my desired color, and that at the top choose, you have this option synchronize default. So if you are creating a new shape without pressing that button, you are going to get a new color that you had selected, not the one that you wanted. So let me just undo it. I already have this shape selected which has black color, but when I create a new shape, it does not use that color. So if you want your new shape to use that color from the shape that you have created, what you need to do is at the top use this option synchronize defaults from selection. So if I just click here, and now when I'm creating it, it is going to choose the colors from that shape where I want it. So these two options are helpful for that. And if you want to just bring everything back to the normal, use this option revert to default, and it will be gone back to the default colors and settings. The next step is regarding joining different curves. So if I just create a shape like that, it is, and I left it like that, let me just make it thicker. So if I just created this curve shape and I left it like that, but later on if I thought that okay, I needed to join it and I needed to extend this shape, how should I do? So I can just select this one, and if I just start to create from this endpoint, it will not work. It will just create a new shape here. As you can see here, this one is the original one and this one is the new shape, so it will not join by default. So if you want to join a new shape to the original shape that you have created, or to the original line that you have created, you need to use that option at the top, that is this one, close curve or the join curve. So if I just select this node tool, for that you will have to select the node tool. So you select both of the curves, okay, select that point that you want it to be joined, and at the top you have this option join curves. So you just click it, and now you have this option, this point curve. Let me show you again. So I'm going to use the pen tool. Okay, I have this shape and I forgot to just close it. Let's say I just forgot to close it, so I want it to be closed. So either I can do what I can do is just at the top choose this option, close this shape, and it will automatically close it. But I want to let's say add few more points and then close it. So what I will do is that I'll just bring my cursor at this end point, create those new shapes, and then simply close it like that. But it did not join both of these shapes. So in order to do that, you need to select both of these shapes, go to the node tool, select that point, and then at the top choose this option join curve, and then either you can simply drag and place it here again, and it will automatically join it for you. So that's how you can join two curves if you accidentally forgot to join those. Okay, next tip is regarding the closing shape. So if I just make a random shape like that here, and if I just close it, if I just close it like that, you can see that it has created this curvature by default. Now if I do not want it to have this curvature, and I wanted it to just bring it like that, and I do not want to mess. So if I just close it here, you can see that it messes my original beginner shape as well, the initial shape. So if I do not want to behave it like that, what I would do is just press the Alt key and create my shape like that. So only one handle moves, the other handle stays the same. Let me show you this again. So if I have this shape like that, and if I just close it, it accidentally messes the whole thing, it messes like that, or it automatically creates this curve. If I do not want it to behave like that, what I would do is just press the Alt key and then join it, and then I can just move one handle independently without messing the other handle. So guys, these were different features and tips regarding the pen tool inside Affinity Designer. Now if you have found this video to be useful and helpful, make sure that you like the video and let me know in the comments below as well, because it will help me with the YouTube algorithm to reach more viewers who are interested in the same content. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.